My friend Jalaj Chaturvedi, who's a brilliant math teacher based out of Indonesia these days, asked me a question when he saw one of my videos. He said, how was I writing on the screen? So I decided to make a video to answer Jalaj's question, how am I able to write on the screen like this? First, let me tell you about the software that I use to create these overlays. When I'm explaining about with the calculator, you can see two rectangles. You can see me on the left-hand rectangle, and then you can see the calculator on the right-hand rectangle. Or if I'm switching to the iPad view, where you can see me on the right 1/3, and then you can see me doing some kind of work on the iPad, which is on the left 2/3. These are the overlays. You can see me within that circle. So these are the overlays I'm referring to, and I use this software called Ecamm Live. You can create such overlays even using OBS, which is a free software, and it works on both platforms, Windows and Mac, whereas Ecamm Live is a paid software and it'll only work on the Mac. I have used both. I've used OBS also, and I personally found Ecamm Live to be a lot more intuitive and user-friendly. So let me just show you on the demo mode. Let me switch to the demo mode, what this looks like. Okay, so this is a message that it's given me. Okay, I'm going to turn this thing. So now you can see the desktop of this laptop, that I'm using to run Ecamm Live. So this is the window where you can see the final mix, and that's the main camera. I switched to the one that has my calculator, and you can see that overlay there. And then when I switch to the one with the iPad, you can see that overlay there. I go back to the main camera again. And so this window contains the final mix that you see. And on this panel out here, I can see the different scenes. Scenes are basically the overlays that are created using the different inputs. My iPad is an input. I use a secondary laptop where I run the calculator, the TI software. That comes in as an input. And all these inputs come as different cameras using a USB capture card. So I have my DSLR coming in as a camera device. I've got my iPad coming in as a camera device. I've got my secondary laptop, which is running the TS software, coming in as a third camera device. And all these different sources together are presented using these overlays. So that's where I have these different scenes, and the different scenes, as I said, consists of all these different overlays. This particular thing, this is where you can see camera effects. This is where the magic actually happens, and we'll come to that in a minute. And here's where all my overlays are in this panel, and you can see the sound panel here. So first, let's go and find out how I created a green screen. Basically, the technique was chroma key. So let me just show you how I created the green screen. I need to switch off from this demo mode to do that. So allow me to do that quickly. I'm going to switch off from my demo mode. I think we are off demo mode right now. Okay. The technique that I've used is a technique called chroma keying. The basic idea of keying is something like this. You have a certain color on the background which you want to subtract. It could be green. Then that particular shade of color can be subtracted from anywhere on the scene. So one needs to be careful that you're not wearing green if the background that you're trying to key out, the background or the color that you're trying to subtract out is green. And you can't have green on any of the foreground images, okay? So if it's blue, then you have to make sure that you're not wearing blue. So in order to do that effectively, what I did was, first thing I went on Google to find out the hex code for green screen. I tried to get a little bit more closer to what the industry standards are. Every color, every shade of every color has a certain code. Okay, so that's the hex code #04F404. That's the code I used to create that particular shade of green. And then using that information, I switched on to Photoshop to create an image. And I did this because, I use the iPad and I use OneNote on the iPad to do all my working. But the iPad doesn't have that particular shade of green. It has green color, but not that particular shade of green. And I couldn't change the background in any way. I don't know whether it can be done on Word, Microsoft Word, that is. There should be another way to do it, but this was my workaround. So let me just show you what I actually did. I went and created a new document on Photoshop, and the dimensions of that particular document, I kept it as large as possible. You should keep it as large as possible, because if you're using OneNote, which has got like an endless ream of paper, then it must fill up. Otherwise, you'll make some mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes. Okay, I think in the last video you can see some of those mistakes. So I'm going to make something that's larger than 3000 by 3000 pixel for sure. And then here I've already, you can see that shade is already there. But how you do is that the background color can be changed. I think by default the background is white, and you can come here and I can come on custom because you are entering that particular code, and this is where you have to enter the code. See, I had already done this earlier. So you can enter the code here. Like I said, let's just pretend that this was not there, but this is where you can enter the code as hash, was it 04 F4 04, and then once you hit create, and there you got your background, a square background with that particular shade of green. And all I did was exported this as a JPEG, an image file actually. And once I had done that, what I did was I brought it to my iPad. I'll show you quickly. So where is my videos? And here, as you can see, that's just the image that was inserted onto my OneNote. That's all. It's an image that's inserted here. And so let me just switch back to the demo mode to show what happens after that. So here we are back on live demo mode of Ecamm Live, and here are all my scenes with all those overlays. I already have that scene called Chroma here, but I'm going to show you how I did it. So this is my scene 1, which is my primary camera. I'm just going to go and duplicate. That's all I did. I duplicated that scene. So basically that scene is it duplicated? It's not letting me duplicate because that scene is locked. So I'm going to unlock that scene, and now I will try to duplicate it. And there you can see that this copy of scene. I'm just going to call this scene Jalaj. Okay, so a tutorial for Jalaj. It's good to label all these scenes well. So that's a scene created. Basically, there's nothing on the scene right now. It's a copy of the first scene, which is just my primary camera angle. Now, what I can do is that when I come to the overlays panel, you can see that I can add different things. I can add the text as an overlay. I can add a video as an overlay, an image as an overlay. I can also add a camera overlay. So as I said, all these different inputs of mine, the iPad is an input, the secondary laptop is an input. They all come in as a different camera. So when I say, okay, I want a new camera overlay, there you can see it has already recognized that I probably want the iPad, and you can see the iPad with that green screen. That's the image basically that we created from Photoshop. And you can see all the black borders of my iPad. What I'm going to do is that, you can actually change the aspect ratio here. Here you've got the wide, which is 16:9. You can create a square. You can even create round. That's how I got can you see that thing? Let's move it away. And you can actually increase or decrease the size. That's how I created that round overlay. And I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is that I'm just going to go and make it custom. Now this is a custom size. And what I'm doing is that I'm just covering myself. Hope that's okay with you guys. Okay, I'll be out of sight for some time. And I've covered myself as much as possible, but you can hear me. And here on the right hand side is where the magic happens. So I will choose that particular camera that's coming via USB 3, and I'll just choose zoom in and pan. And I'm just going to zoom in so that I can just knock off the borders there. Now I'm well covered. Okay, now I'm behind the green. I'm behind this. This is actually the iPad screen, okay? So all I do is that I hit go to green screen out here, and I click that. You can see a brick wall. There's no brick wall, but that's just a preset for Ecamm Live. I just hit transparent here, and voila, just like that, I'm there. So basically, what's happening is that in front of me is another camera overlay, which is turned transparent. And then using a nice white color, I can write something on the screen, something like this, Jalaj. Hope this helps. That is the technique I use to write on the screen. Now I'm going to switch normal mode. So now I'm on normal mode, and as you can see that there are some flaws to this technique that I've been using, especially if it's daytime. I should not be using white color. It clashes with the background. So there might be some better ways to do this. I've even seen videos of people who write on the screen, while looking into the camera. It's called a light board. And that's better because, in this technique, I have to write and my eyes are not there, or if my eyes are there, I can't see where I'm writing, so there are flaws to this technique also. But with each video that I make, I'm learning to improve. So if you've got a better way to do this writing on the screen effect, please let me know on the comments below. And if you're interested in trying out Ecamm Live, I put the link in the description below. They have a 14-day trial period, but they're running a 30% discount these days. So it's a great time to actually try them out right now. If you have been creating YouTube videos, I would love to hear from you about the gadgets that you use, about the software you use. And if you have any other technique of how to create this writing effect on the screen, do let me know in the comments below. I'm going to see you all in the next video.